The Hailsham News Podcast.
Hello and welcome to edition 4 of the Hailsham News Podcast. Now, last week, 1.5 million letters were sent to the highest risk vulnerable people across the UK amid the COVID-19 pandemic. However, there are many thousands of people in the area who might not actually fall into the highest risk category, but still need support and help during the lockdown period. East Sussex County Council and Wealdon District Council has released information for vulnerable and elderly residents to make sure they receive the help they're entitled to. Doctors' surgeries will be writing to residents if they have a medical condition which makes them extremely vulnerable to coronavirus. People in this group are being asked to isolate themselves for 12 weeks and will have food delivered to their homes. Now, there are two ways to ensure you are registered as vulnerable. If you consider yourself as extremely vulnerable to coronavirus, you can register with .gov.uk. If you're not sure whether your medical condition makes you extremely vulnerable, register anyway, and that's the advice from the government. If you are in this group and do not have support network or family and friends around you to help and get essential supplies, you can register for support from the government by calling 0800 028 8327. Wealdon District Council has set up a COVID-19 community hub for vulnerable people who need support to allow them to stay at home. You can register here by calling 01323 443322. So that number again, 01323 443322. There is also support available to residents through a dedicated Facebook page which has been set up by Sunflowers Mental Health and Wellbeing. The Hailsham Crisis Support Group is utilising local volunteers who are delivering food and medication to the elderly and vulnerable. Charlotte Brazier, brainchild of the project, told me the response from the general public has been incredible.
What we've had back is brilliant. I've had every day we've got a phone number to contact through Sunflowers, which is 07851 963 253, and that comes usually straight to the voicemail, which asks for people to leave a message, and I get multiple voicemails. If I turn that phone on now, I will have so many voicemails on there from people just to get back. And not all of them, it's about that they need the shopping done. A lot of them are just touching base to say, look, we've received your flyer, or we found you online, and we just want to touch base and just so you don't forget about us, which is really lovely. And I think I responded to all of my voicemails yesterday, and they're just so happy to just have someone. They know that something's there to help them. And it's took a huge weight off them, worrying that they're isolated and they've got no one who can help them. So it's nice for them to know that we are there, and I get lovely emails from people. Oh, it's been really, really lovely, actually. And people are just so thankful that people are helping them.
It's amazing, isn't it, that, it's a very worrying time for a lot of people out there, especially those that are on their own and necessarily can't get out. And yesterday, we've only just really published information for people that are vulnerable and maybe not yet registered as vulnerable on the local authorities, and I feel as if that information's only really just come about. Do you think there's been enough support until now?
I don't think there has been, to be honest, with that information coming out. I'm an NHS worker myself. My family work for NHS and they're in London. So it's quite interesting to what's going on there with what support and people who come in that catchment, about if they are in that vulnerable stage or their health problems, they should be having that support. It seems to be working a lot quicker in London, and the letters are being sent out a lot quicker. Here I heard that everyone should have a letter by Monday, but I've still been just kind of answering people on other threads where it may be nothing, related to Sunflowers of what we're doing, about, they are a vulnerable person. They could be a disabled person who has carers coming into their home. They might not have a heart condition or type 1 diabetes or anything like that. They could just generally be a disabled person in their home who can't get around and can't leave their house. To me, that is a vulnerable person, isn't it?
And you can hear that full interview with Charlotte Brazier on our website at hailsham.news or on our Hailsham News Facebook page. Now, I've got some information for you now on the local buses. All Cuckmere bus services are withdrawn due to the coronavirus pandemic. A statement sent to us said passenger numbers have been plummeted this week, showing that people are taking notice of the government's warnings. And to avoid great risk to our drivers for increasingly small numbers of passengers we have, reluctantly decided to cease operations immediately until further notice. And on the stagecoach buses, Route 51 and Route 252 buses are still running a special timetable with buses hourly from Eastbourne to Heathfield as Route 51 and from Heathfield to Tunbridge Wells as Route 252. There will be additional journeys every hour between Eastbourne, Hailsham and Roebuck Park, and some additional journeys at peak times, mainly for key workers only, please. And some information I've got here from Wilden District Council. The bin collection suspension has been put in place for the garden waste. So it says here, due to staff sickness and self-isolation due to the coronavirus, the contractor responsible for the collections has suspended them from 30th of March, which is today. So if your garden bin is due for collection today, that will not happen until further notice. It says here the suspension will be kept under review, but this will be the case until the end of April, as Biffa says it needs to prioritise other waste services during this difficult period. Now, finally, today we've got some other information from Hailsham Town Council here about the post office. The post office opening times are now 10 a.m. till 2 p.m. Monday to Saturday. Lottery tickets will not be available to purchase, and non-essential posting is not permitted. So post office reduced hours and is now open from Monday to Saturday between 2 a.m. and 2 p.m. So that's it for today's Hailsham News podcast. Thank you very much for listening once again. Do get involved, do ask questions, and maybe suggest some people we can interview on this podcast, and let us know what's happening locally. You can do that on Facebook by joining the Hailsham News and Talk Facebook page, or of course you can email us directly at editor@hailsham.news. Thank you once again, and I'll speak to you very soon. This has been Paul Gibson for the Hailsham News Podcast 2020.